Aquarius, have you noticed, lately things have been shifting, but not in a loud, dramatic way. Not through chaos, not through a tidal wave of life, but through tiny tremors, delicate as breath, quietly surfacing. A sudden image that stops you in your tracks. A recurring dream, like a call echoing from some faraway place. A feeling you can't quite explain, but it makes you pause in the middle of your daily rhythm, and then you ask, am I really on the right path? If that question keeps returning, gently, persistently, then maybe it's your soul whispering. It doesn't want you to keep running the old roads. It's calling you to step into a new chapter, one that doesn't look like any year you've known before. 2025 isn't just another mark on the calendar, it's a gateway into three of the most profound transformations of your life. An unexpected financial blessing, a farewell that's gentle but deeply freeing, and a rebirth that doesn't happen on the outside but rises quietly from within. These aren't separate events, they are threads woven together, like a three-part symphony composed for the Aquarius soul, independent, bold, and beautifully idealistic. But even those who always lead need to pause sometimes, to come home to themselves, and to realize moving forward isn't the same as living. So if you're still here, stay with me until the end. Not to hear a prediction, but to feel each shift as if it's unfolding inside your real life. And when you reach the final moment, I believe you won't just be surviving, you'll be loving, choosing, and receiving in the way you've always deserved. The journey begins in the place you least expect, money. But this time, it doesn't come as a calculation. It comes as a mirror, reflecting your emotional maturity, your inner peace, and your trust in your true worth. You've always been ahead of your time, always creative, always moving forward. But there's a part of you, rarely noticed, that quietly longs for something so simple: to pause, to be loved, to breathe, without having to earn it. The universe has already seen that, even if you've never said it out loud, and this year it offers you a gift, not because you performed well, but because you have always been worthy, even when there's nothing left to prove. That money will come unexpectedly, not just to help you reclaim your power, but to pose a deeper question. Do you truly believe in your own worth, even when there's nothing left to show for it? If your answer is yes, then perhaps your first response is a thank you, a gesture of sharing, a ripple of generosity, not because you owe anything, but because you know those who receive with grace are the same ones who give from a place of truth. And the real question still remains: do you dare to invest in yourself, in the dreams you folded away to take care of others? Do you dare to step onto the center stage instead of staying in the wings helping others shine? Do you dare to leave the supporting role and become the main character in your own story? This is no longer a story about money, it's a story about your right to fullness, to live in abundance without shame or fear. So be honest with yourself. If a large sum of money landed in your hands tomorrow, what would you do with it? Would you use it to heal old wounds, to revive the dreams you've shelved for too long? Or would you hold back, afraid that others might call you greedy? Don't forget, you are worthy, not because you're perfect, but because you've lived, loved, and kept going, even when there was nothing left to hold on to. And right there, in the place where you finally learn to receive without guilt, is where the miracle begins. Gratitude isn't rejecting the gift, it's having the courage to open your heart and say, thank you, I receive. In 2025, Jupiter, the planet of opportunity and expansion, will amplify your financial energy, but it only walks beside those who dare to act. For Aquarius, that may look like an old idea returning with new life, a forgotten sum of money resurfacing unexpectedly, an investment that once seemed unrealistic now becoming your breakthrough. But what matters more than the number is the way you look at yourself in the mirror. For the first time, you'll revisit your journey and whisper, I've come far enough to deserve something beautiful. And that's not arrogance, that's sacred self-recognition. And that is not arrogance. It is sacred recognition. When you no longer fear scarcity, that is when you become truly free. And you, Aquarius, you weren't born to live in hiding. You were born to awaken, to create, to bring light into the places that have long remained in the dark. You are not just a mind. You are a soul that has been wounded. And even if you rarely speak of it, you still long for a love deep enough that you no longer have to keep being strong. And that right there is your energetic breakthrough. When courage walks hand in hand with abundance. When your logic is supported by real-world resources, that is when you are able to create something truly meaningful. To open a door for the youth. To launch a community initiative. To fulfill a promise you made years ago but never had the strength or stability to carry through. It doesn't have to be grand. Even a small step, if born from real love, will make you the spark this world has been waiting for. And remember, money is not the goal, it is the fuel. The real question is, do you dare to believe that you are truly worthy? Worthy of more than just surviving, but of thriving? Of living in prosperity, in freedom, and being loved in the way your soul has always known it deserves? Do you believe the universe wants you to live in abundance, not to boast, but so you can become a vessel for love and light? Then it's time to stop shrinking. Stop fearing being misunderstood. Stop making yourself small just to fit into someone else's lens. You know who you are more than anyone else, and so does the universe. Look into the mirror and say, I deserve to live in abundance. I don't need to sacrifice everything just to be loved. I am who I am, and that is enough. The road ahead may still be long, but you've already walked far enough. And now, it's time to step into a new chapter. A chapter of love, of light, and of the power to turn every one of your dreams into reality. Aquarius, to begin a new chapter. Sometimes you don't need to do anything more, you just need to gently let go of what no longer fits. Before you can truly step into a path of rebirth, one thing must happen first, a farewell, but not the kind that shatters your heart. This is a gentle, profound letting go, like a sacred ritual. No need for tears, no need for shouting, just a nod, a soft sigh. Are you ready? There are moments when, no matter how strong we are, we must sit with ourselves in silence. Not because there's nothing to say, but because no words are big enough to hold everything we feel inside. Loss is one of those moments. Do you remember the last time you lost something truly precious? Not because you let it go, not because you made a mistake, but simply because life has its own way of dividing everything in two. One half that stays in memory, and the other empty, quiet, impossible to fill. In that moment, you stopped. No more running, no more trying. You simply looked, and then the tears came. Not loud, quiet, but deep. Then something strange happened. A breeze brushed past your shoulder as if someone had just laid a hand on you. A familiar melody suddenly echoed in the middle of a crowded street. A scent from long ago hit you unexpectedly, tightening your chest. And you knew, they're still here. Not in the form you once knew, but present, just in another form. Aquarius, even as logical as you are, even as the most rational sign in the Zodiac, there are nights when you wake up with a strange feeling, as if someone is standing beside your bed saying nothing, just watching over you. Maybe it felt unreasonable, but your heart knows that wasn't imagination. There are mornings you wake up with tears on your face, without knowing why. You scold yourself for being too emotional. But in truth, that was a touch from a soul who once loved you deeply. Someone who was once close to you. They're still watching, still caring, still protecting you, in a way your eyes can't see. Because this body, no matter how strong, is only temporary. The soul, that's what lasts. Death is not an end. It's a transition from visible to invisible, from physical closeness to emotional presence. And Aquarius, you are one of the rare few who can walk between both worlds, living in reality while sensing the spirit realm. Even if you don't speak of it often, even if you rarely admit it, there are still moments when you know deep in your being that something is calling to you from far beneath the surface. Have you ever been sitting on a summer afternoon when a sudden chill runs through you? And then an odd sense of peace follows, as if a loved one who has passed is whispering to you, "I'm still here. I never really left." Maybe they're waiting for your forgiveness, or waiting for you to forgive yourself. Maybe you've blamed yourself for not saying those final words of love. Maybe you've wished for just one more minute to hold them, to touch their hand, to say, "I'm sorry." But know this, they are still listening, even without ears, and they hear you through soul, through connection, through feeling. So if someone is on your mind right now, don't hold it in any longer. Close your eyes and speak the words you never had the chance to say. No one else needs to hear. Just you and them. And when you do, you might feel something begin to loosen inside. Like a knot that's been tightly wound, finally releasing, quietly, gently. That is forgiveness. That is acceptance. That is love beyond time. A goodbye sometimes isn't about leaving. It's about softly releasing what has been held too tightly for too long. And when you do that, you no longer walk forward with a guilty heart. You walk with a heart illuminated by memory and by the strength of the souls who have gone before you, now passing their light on to you. If you're carrying a sorrow, whether it's old or new, remember, it doesn't need to be overcome. It simply needs to be walked through. You don't need to be the strongest. You don't need to be the symbol of resilience. This time, let yourself be honest about what you feel. Let yourself cry, remember, and smile, even through the pain. It is right there, in that space where you stop trying to hold everything together, that love finds its way back to you. Not in the form of someone new who replaces what you lost, but as a soul who's waited a long time, finally returning, not to start again, but to complete what was left unfinished. And you'll come to see, you've never truly lost anyone forever. It's just that you've only now begun to hear their voice, in silence, in the wind, in the eyes of someone new, in your own heart. Aquarius, true love doesn't come to replace, it returns to continue. Right in the moment when you think you've lost everything, that's when the sweetest thing begins to bloom. Not loudly, not hurried, feeling as light as mist, but it softens your heart in ways you can't explain. A quiet promise from the universe. Another soul will step into your life, not to fill a void, but to walk with you through the next chapter. This connection doesn't arise from loneliness or a craving to be loved. It comes from the quiet maturity within your heart, a heart that has learned to love without clinging, without conditions, without fearing loss. Are you ready, Aquarius, for a soul marriage? A wedding dress, no aisle to walk down. Just two souls who once lost each other across lifetimes, now finding their way back at the exact moment when both have learned to love without control, without the need to prove, and without the fear of pain. That person will arrive. Not flashy, not extravagant. Maybe they won't even be your type. But when they look at you, you'll recognize a familiar gaze. A softness that once ran deep from somewhere you can't quite recall. A voice, like an echo from another life. A feeling, unexplainable yet hauntingly clear. As if the universe has been slowly stitching your heart back together, piece by piece, just to prepare you for this encounter. This time, love won't be loud. It won't burn. It will anchor you back to yourself. It will be someone who sits beside you on days when you don't feel like speaking. Someone who doesn't try to fix you, doesn't analyze you. They'll just stay long enough for you to heal in your own rhythm. They won't walk away when you're vulnerable. They won't look at you with pity. They'll hold you and understand every crack in you is where the light finds its way in. Aquarius, I believe somewhere out there, a soul is already loving you in silence. Not loudly, not publicly, just waiting for the universe to give the green light to enter your life at exactly the right moment. And if your heart stirs even slightly as you read these words, that's no coincidence. Whisper to yourself, I'm ready. True love doesn't arrive when you still believe you must do everything alone. It doesn't show up while you're still trying to appear strong. But it only comes when you're brave enough to say, I'm tired, I want someone to walk beside me. Not to fight battles, but to live more gently together. When you stop feeling ashamed of being cared for. When you no longer flinch at gentleness. When you stop treating love as something you have to pay for. You'll begin to realize marriage doesn't live in a piece of paper. It lives in a simple message that asks, "Are you okay today?" In a glance that understands you. In a hand reaching for yours when you don't even have the words. Love will return, but not like before. Not the kind that burns and then vanishes. This time, love will hold you close to the part of you that remains whole. It will be someone who sits beside you when you have nothing left to offer and still stay. They won't try to fix you. They won't try to diagnose you. They will simply be there. Gently, quietly, long enough, and then you'll see every pain you've ever carried was never meaningless. Because only through those wounds did you learn how to recognize the kind of love that needs no control, no conquest, no sacrifice. This time, two souls will look at each other and say, not with words, but with presence, "This time, I won't disappear. This time, I'll stay. This time, we won't miss each other again." Aquarius, you don't need someone perfect. You just need someone brave enough to hold your hand when you're at your weakest and still say, "I'm still here." Maybe you once loved someone deeply and they couldn't hold on to the best part of what you gave. Thing that made you question yourself? It made you question love itself. But the truth is, you weren't wrong for loving too much. He just loved at the wrong time. Now the timing has finally come. In 2025, with the support of Uranus, your ruling planet, everything begins to shift. A karmic gateway will open. Not for you to get married in the traditional sense, but for you to meet a soul who has belonged to you for a very long time. You won't recognize them by appearance, but you will feel them. A look that stops your breath. A strange warmth that opens your heart before you have time to guard it. No reason, no logic. You'll simply know it's them. They won't walk away when you fall silent. They won't try to cheer you up. They won't make promises they can't keep. They'll just be there, patient as a shaft of light slipping through the crack in your door. Waiting for you, holding you, understanding that every crack in your heart is the map that leads them home. If you feel something gently stirring in your heart, that is the call. Whisper softly, "I'm ready." Because sacred love does not arrive when you still believe you have to carry everything alone. It comes when you're brave enough to say, "I'm tired. I need someone to walk with me." Not to prove anything, just to live kindly and gently together. True love is never loud. It lives in a glance exchanged at midday, in a simple message, in a hug without explanation, in a hand placed softly on your back when no one is watching. And you, Aquarius, you deserve that kind of love. But to receive it, you must pass through one final doorway, the deepest one. Not a door of action, but of spiritual transformation. A quiet shift from within. When you no longer seek love to fill a void, but to live, to walk together, to grow, like two rivers, distinct but flowing side by side. Others may only see your confidence, your intellect, your convictions, but they don't see the nights you collapse, alone, under the weight of silent sighs. They don't know that sometimes courage isn't continuing to move forward, but daring to admit, "I'm hurting, I'm tired, I want to be loved exactly as I am." 2025 is not just another year. It is a sacred chapter written especially for your soul. A year when money will arrive, both as a gift and a test. A year when farewells will open the door to freedom. And a year when a wedding without a dress will take place in your heart, marking the return of your soul after countless seasons of storm. You've come far enough. You've been strong for so long. But now, the universe doesn't want you to keep pushing through. It wants you to receive. Receive love. Receive peace. Receive abundance. No need to pay for it. No need to prove anything. All you have to do is say yes. And if you've made it this far, maybe you've already heard something echo inside you. Not from me, but from your own soul. If today's message touched you, type yes in the comments, so the universe knows you're ready to receive what's meant just for you. And if you want to hear more about what's waiting for you ahead, don't forget to follow the channel. Your journey is only just beginning. I'll see you in the next video where awakened souls find each other, not by chance, but because it's time to come home.